What is the most obvious lie you have ever been told? My first watch was an Omega and I saved up on high school to get it. One of my good friends back then asked to wear it for one period and would give it back at lunch. He begged and begged, so as a HS kid I gave in or couldn't keep saying no, I guess. Weak on me. Obviously. Well. He smashed it, apparently smashed the glass to test it, gave it back and said it was a fake and that's why the glass cracked, and said he didn't do it and it just fell apart. Arsehole became a medical doctor and is now involved in politics and holds state office. I'm still pissed about the watch he never admitted he broke cause he was salty and jealous. Dickhead then. Dickhead now. When a co-worker told my own story back to me as his own. Twice. When I was a kid. The internet wasn't a thing, so my friends were whoever happened to live in the neighborhood. One kid was a well-known liar and exaggerator. We were maybe 14 years old at this time. This kid could play guitar and was always talking himself up about it and talking about his band. He actually could play. But his band did not exist. One day, I called him at his house. From my house. I don't remember what it was about. But a few minutes into the conversation, told me, by the way, I'm in Florida with my band. Just out of the blue. This was before even pagas were a common thing. I called him. At his house. I just said something like, okay. And ended the conversation. I then proceeded to tell all the other kids in the neighborhood. When I was a public defender, my dipshitty client called up his victim from the jail phone the night before his trial. He said kill repeatedly in an attempt to intimidate her. When I was telling him how stupid this was, his excuse was that he was watching Kill Bill and someone changed the channel on the cell block communal TV. That dumbass is now doing 28 years in prison. My friend told me that getting a Peloton changed her life. I looked up her workout stats and she had used it 4 times in 5 months of owning it. Her husband fared a little better with using it 9 times. Don't know why this annoyed me so much. Being able to tell people she owns a Peloton changed her life. My little girl told everyone in the supermarket that our cat died and she was sad. We don't own a cat. Well, not anymore. In 5th grade. A friend of ours used to try to convince us he used to hang out with the band Sublime. Among other stuff. He said that he was the person featured on the cover of their self-titled album and he used to do drugs with them and even tried heroin once. We were f***ing 11 years old and he claimed this all happened 2 years before he even moved to our school. So yeah. A f***ing 9-year-old did all this wild shit. We constantly called bullshit, but he would just continue to lie and make up more stuff. We stopped hanging out with him because he was so full of shit. My mom, after 11-year-old me accidentally destroyed her favorite vase by throwing my brother's stuffed animals around the living room. I'm not mad. When my friend was an infant, her mother put her 2-year-old sibling in her crib while the mom left the room briefly. When mom came back, my friend was crying and had teeth marks on her forehead. And mom asked the older sibling what happened. She calmly said, she bit herself. We're not playing favorites. Used to have a friend that spewed bullshit all the time. Told me her bio parents, who lived together, were divorced and seeing other people. And also that she had 25 siblings. Brought it up to her mom one time. Which was an interesting conversation. She also told us she had cancer. And then a week later it was miraculously cured. Edit. In high school, a buddy told me that he didn't steal our other buddy's watch. He was wearing the watch when I asked him about it. A childhood friend and I met up for coffee one day after not meeting for a few years. He casually let it slip that ever since he earned a black belt he has had to register with the state as a human weapon. My hands are registered as lethal weapons. That means we get into a fight. I accidentally kill you. I go to jail. Anybody accidentally kills anybody in a fight, they go to jail. It's called manslaughter. I never said you had to sign the document if it wasn't true. Says the person with 3 emails telling me to sign a document even after I said it wasn't true, sitting on her outbox. I used to work with a guy that was a serial liar. Couldn't tell the truth if his life depended on it. So many lies. But this is my personal fave. Background. Keep in mind that at the NFL Combine the 40-yard dash is the standard for speed. 5 seconds is great. 4 is elite. And the fastest time ever recorded by a prospect is, I believe, 24 seconds. This yutz I worked with claimed that back in his army days, he ran a 4.2 flat in combat boots. Let's just say I'm skeptical. Any lieutenant saying that the platoon can go home early on a Friday if you work hard right now. Just about anything a lieutenant says should be run by the captain first. Unless the lieutenant says, I don't know. In which case he's probably right and is probably prior enlisted as well. We cannot give you a raise right now. But we will compensate you as soon as the budget allows. Turns out when the budget allows is when you already have another job offer and put in your 2 weeks notice. I can finish this Civ game tonight. As a tax accountant, I'm told lies about how much money people actually made all the time during tax season. My favorite was a guy telling me he's broke because he only makes $35,000/year in Nick, so my very reasonable fee is too much for him. He says this after he asks me if he can deduct the new BMW 5 Series he just bought his son all cash. The company is in a great shape, so don't pay any attention to rumors about financial trouble. When my little brother mixed like 50 condiments, including sprinkles, ketchup, cereal and stuff, into a bag of popcorn and ate it, telling us it was delicious when his face looked like he just ate 10 extremely sour warheads at once. He later admitted he just wanted us to eat it, but we never did. My brother told me I was a dragon and I totally believed him. Man, I was a dumb kid. I did brush my teeth. I swear. This toothbrush. Bone dry. Loyalty to a company would be repaid. I did not feed your dog any human food, my mom. While my dog pukes and shits all over my house. I was picking up a sofa from a guy I found on Kijiji and he stopped me right before leaving to see if I wanted to buy a mirror he was also looking to get rid of. I wasn't really interested, but my wife seemed keen, so we stopped in the hallway to check it out. He said it was a gift from my son-in-law. It's a beautiful mid-century antique. I'll let it go for $75. He went on about what an amazing mirror it was and even told me pick it up and feel how sturdy it is. Full stop. I picked it up, it was really heavy actually, and took a peek at the back and saw a sticker from Value Village with a $30 price tag. I kinda chuckled to myself and asked if he would go any lower than $75. He said I really couldn't. Then I said, well, I can see a tag from Value Village on the back here. We ended up getting the mid-century antique mirror for $15 and me and my wife still laugh about the amazing deal we got on it. My ex told me he was in a car accident. Totaled his car. Broke a few ribs. He was trying to get sympathy so I would get back together with him. Blaming the accident on me. Since he was distracted after the breakup. He sent me a photo of his car smashed in. I Google searched it. First pic of his make model that was wrecked. He formulated the story after the picture. But here's the deal. The wheels didn't match. So I drove by his house that evening. Car was fixed and in his driveway. Oh yes. I paid a shop extra to get me in today. So I could have my car to come see you if you wanted me to. Haha bro. We will keep your resume on hand. And let you know if any other positions open up. As a recent graduate job searching. It wasn't me. Honey came in and she caught me red-handed creeping with the girl next door. Used to play D&D with a pathological liar. Side note. He had the most incredible luck with natural 20 rolls. Close bracket. Another thing about this guy is he always tried to act like a macho tough guy too who had been in serious scrapes and such. So one time, unprompted, he said under his breath, but obviously wanting us to hear, "I've got to get this shrapnel out of me." We were just like, "Sure man. Whatever you need to do." Edit. Just remembered another thing he did once that was even better. So we were taking a break and several of us had just stepped away from the table, so it was just me, him, and maybe one other person, and he pulled out his phone and did that thing like in the movies where you don't say hi or anything. He was just like, "Talk to me." Pretended to have a very brief conversation and ended it with "I'm on it" or something like that, and then hung up. I had a friend in college who was a serial liar. Just all kinds of crazy things. That must have satisfied some psychological need. All of it harmless. He told me he developed a theory on how to bend light passing through air and pitched the idea to the physics department, which set up an experiment and proved his theory to be true. He was a general studies major. I kept pressing him, well, which professor was it? How did the experiment work? Etc. Just kept digging deeper and changing the subject. My co-worker once tried to convince me that centaurs exist. She said they lived in a gated community in Hollywood and did all the horse stunts for movies. Did we both know it was a lie? Yes. Did she ever admit it was? My son takes every opportunity to get naked. It's a struggle to get him to even wear underpants half the time. We found him sat around naked one time and asked him where his pants had gone. Bees came in through the window and stole his pants. Lying little shitty. Everyone knows that it's gnomes who steal underwear. In the early 90s I was at work making $5 an hour. And a co-worker looked me straight in the eye and said he had bought a surface-to-air missile from China and kept it stored at his mom's house in a different city. WTF, dude? That's not even close to believable. Your call is important to us. The cat scratched me. Literally don't own a cat though. My fork fell onto my arms then. IDK. Blue fire is cold. Yeah, I did all my homework in like 5 minutes, I promise. Holy shit, this comment blew up. My friend said he had a body count of 200 plus. He was a slightly fat guy who spends all his free time on video games and hates to leave his apartment. I mean, he never said he was talking about SX. Have you been in his basement? Does it count if the person believed me because I told someone the world was in black and white until the first nuclear explosions? When I was 16 I'd had a crush on one of my co-workers. And he'd liked me back. I thought things were going good until I asked him if he wanted to go out on our shared day off. He agreed. And then the day of cancelled and told me it was because he needed to take care of his fish. Plot twist here is that I told a few of my friends. 2 of which worked with me and the guy. And I went on and on about how rude it is of him to not even give me a believable lie. Those friends were all hanging out and went to Walmart that day. And ran into my crush. Buying food and supplies for his fish. He told them how excited he was about the fish too. I felt like the biggest asshole. It will all be over by Easter. The Easter Bunny. Yeah, we had to wait for the eggs to be hidden. I met someone who told me that he drank too much with his friends. Had an alcohol overdose. And died. After he died, his friends threw him under a bed where he rotted for 3 days before coming back to life, and if I didn't believe him I could ask his friends. Bro, you met Jesus. My classmate was watching videos during online class while she was unmuted and said it was a math video. Semicolon. Mom opened the door to my closet weed farm. Huh? What is this? Me. Panicking. Tomatoes? Huh? Right. Be careful with those lamps. She never asked about my tomatoes. Edit. This happened in my apartment. She was looking for something and accidentally opened the closet. That's not a hickey, I bruised my neck helping my sister move today. Thank you for the awards. I told my mom I got it from football practice. She asked why my teammates were giving me high keys. Millipedes have 1,000 legs. We love you both equally. There are horny singles in my area. You're the best I've ever had. Edit. Thank you for the award, kind stranger. She was just trying to get you to stop crying. I love you after I found out I was being cheated on. She had the audacity to kiss me too. I feel good enough today. For flight training. Anytime you fly you have to sign off that you are physically and mentally fit to fly. This means you have eaten in the past 6 hours. Had a 10-hour rest period including 6-8 hours of sleep no longer than 16 hours ago, and that you do not have any excessive outside stresses. People lie about this all the time. An employee of mine took a half day off so he could attend a parent-teacher conference in the afternoon. He was supposed to work the morning shift, but then called last minute saying that it had all been bumped up and he couldn't come in the morning. Then he kept saying that the meeting was getting dragged out all day. Finally showing up around 4 PM. He insisted that the school had bumped his appointment up to 10 AM. All the while forgetting that he was wearing a visitor's badge sticker on his shirt that clearly said checked in 2 PM. When I was in high school, a classmate told me he makes over $20 an hour part-time as a banquet server. I did the exact same job and made $6.30 per hour. I told him he was straight up lying to me and he was adamant that he wasn't. Told him to bring me a pay stub and prove it and he said I don't have one. This guy just regularly lied about all kinds of shit, but this was the first one I remember. I'll never understand compulsive liars. I told this lie as a 3-year-old to my mom. I was coloring the wall in the hallway with my bunny stuffed animal in my hand. I wasn't much of a rule breaker, so this one really stuck to my mom. My mom coming into the hallway. What did you do? Me. Looks at Bunny. Bunny did that. Mom. Well then tell Bunny that he shouldn't do that anymore because now we have to repaint the wall and that's not nice. Me. Looks at Bunny. Bunny, you really can't do that. That's not nice. Meanwhile I still had the markers in my other hand. Edit. Wow, thank you for the rewards. These are my first ever. My supervisor was pissed off at me after we had some issues and she told me, excuse me, I want to go to the toilet, while she truly went to release her anger to other co-workers. She should have taken them farther for I could hear her. Stupid. The teacher said this assignment wasn't required. Or we would do it in class. Or I promise I got it done. Ugh. My kid and his homework are going to kill us both. If we give tax incentives to the rich, the money will trickle down to the poor. That my dad hadn't touched a single button on the remote and all the channels had become Spanish on their own. Everything my kid brother has ever said. Masks don't work. My dad said he would be back after he got the milk. No specific example. But when a fully grown adult tells you a story that just completely doesn't add up, whether it's a reason they didn't finish a task, or didn't want to come and meet up, and it literally doesn't make any sense. Like, if you're going to lie about why you didn't do something, at least have the decency to make it believable. SMH. I used to work in social housing. I once had a guy try to blag unemployment and having no income benefits. What shot his argument in the foot was the fact he was sat there in a full Tesco uniform. I didn't give the kids sugar. Wyoming exists. Eating animal meat isn't animal cruelty. Of course it is. Very young individuals are literally being deliberately abused, mutilated and eventually killed because humans demand it. We care for your privacy. Facebook. My 5-year-old daughter threw her dinner on the floor last night. When I asked her who made the mess, she pointed at me. To be fair, she didn't make that dinner. Did she? Mexico will pay for the wall. Once I am elected, I see a future for us after he had accepted a job in another country that he hadn't said he had applied for. I'm not into drama. I can't, I'm going on a date at Chick-fil-A. It was a Sunday. Trickle down economics works. My best friend's ex-fiancé tried to get us to believe that she was part of the Russian mafia and had killed 30 people. We're in our late 20s. Guy I used to work with claimed he got 5 gold stars on every song on Guitar Hero 2. At the time I used to play every day and wasn't close to anything like this. It was just so far-fetched. There are obviously people in the world who will have achieved this feat of excellence. But not him. I ended up playing with him a few months later. When someone brought a system into work, I became confident in my assumption and that he was chatting shit.